Cool. Hi, I am Right On Dale, and for those that don't know me, I'm also streaming on the Clock app on Twitch. And I'm Twitch? What? No, on TikTok. It's got a weird TI sound that I always have in my brain. Wow, we're off to a great start here. I am Right On Dale. I'm a dad. I'm also a voice actor, and I love playing TTRPGs. I wanted to jump on here and share with you some of the techniques that I have learned to create awesome, natural character voices. Now, people hear me say natural character voices and they think, well, that's kind of an oxymoron. Character voices are supposed to be crazy like that. Not necessarily. You can actually utilize the voice that you have as of right now to create characters for your TTRPGs, for your next audition. And I'm really excited to be sharing with you one of my favorite resources. I realized that I had a question in mind when I was joining D&D. How do I create a character voice for this? So what I did is I designed a version, a variation, and like different things for character voices. And I want to share with you how that process goes. I'll be showing you here on YouTube. And for those that are on my Clock app watching at the same time, thanks for dropping those, guys. For those that are watching on my TikTok at the same time, you can actually drop suggestions for what you're looking for and what you'd like to see. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, let's get into this. Each side of this sheet actually has an important function. So if you were to cut it right down the middle, you'd have two different parts that function essentially the same way. They complement one another, there's interplay, and it's really cool to see your character voices expand beyond what you thought you could do before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how each of these work. Over on the right-hand side of the sheet, I'll bring that up a little bit closer for you. You have the character voice creator. You have the name or region in which you are setting this story. You have their race, class, age, and gender. You also have an open list of the selected vocal tools, and I've lettered those A through D. But what you're really going to want to pay attention to, and the things that you're going to want to learn how to master, is the vocal tools here on the bottom. I'm going to read those off for you. The timbre, pitch, texture, energy, breath, speed, volume, age, gender, bite, diction, and cadence. Now, each of those has a different effect on how your character speaks and presents his or herself to the world in which these characters live. It doesn't matter if you're playing science fiction. It doesn't matter if you're playing fantasy. It doesn't matter if you're doing any of those things. This character voice reference sheet will help you and empower you as a DM or as a player to make real, living, breathing, interesting sounding character voices. Okay, let's get into this. I'm going to be doing this live for you guys. And I've already got, again, I've got my Clock app, my TikTok up here. They've been dropping some suggestions for different character names and races and classes, and I'm going to be using those here in just a second. Thus far, we have a gnome barbarian called Periwinkle Flower Cutter, a neutral good goblin artificer. That's a fantastic idea. Chaotic neutral tabaxi rogue. I like that. Oh man, better surname for a goblin barbarian would be Petalbane. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, and those that are watching on either one of these platforms, please, please, please share this with your respective social media pages. That helps me out a lot in getting the word out. It helps me to get this out there because I know that there's an interest in doing character voices, but I don't think that people really know where to look. And I want to be that source of that resource for you and your table. Cool. So let's do this. I am going to start showing off some of my birthday presents when I leveled up to level 30 within the past couple weeks. And I got myself a very fancy dice tray. You can kind of see the bottom of it there, the top of it. It's kind of poor because the lighting is not very good down there. But for those that were here, for those that are here, I want to thank you so much for your help on my coffee. Those are the ones that helped donate for my birthday to help get me these amazing presents. Like it's fantastic. I was able to get a brand new dice set. I got this Chonky Boy dice, and this is called Eternal Destruction. That's the name of this dice, and I was immediately hooked because it's so cool. It's a Chonky Boy. This is compared to other D20s that I own. It is actually slightly bigger, and I love it because it's menacing, and every time it hits the table, it makes you think about your life choices, and that's the kind of DM that I aspire to be. Okay. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to use my Celtic-inspired dice tray, leather dice tray, by the way. It's fantastic. And we are going to randomize the 4 vocal tools that I plan on using to demonstrate how we do this. Okay, so the first one is 12. Okay, actually, why are we doing a D20? Let's get a D12 going on. I'm going to use my brand new dice that I got as a present from you guys. Actually, this was my wife's present for my birthday. And I really like these. These are, they have a foil that's teal and green together. And it's mostly opaque black resin around it. Oh, that's so fancy. Bougie boy. So yeah, I'll show you guys down here as well. It's fantastic. I love the color. I love the feel. So we are going to go through and name off each one of these. So 2, that is our pitch. So we're going to be working with our pitch as our first vocal tool. I'm going to write that down here. All right. Then B, what is that going to be? That is 6. So that is speed. Ooh. Cool. Next tool. 3, which is texture. Yes. And finally, we're going to be, I need a new set. I feel that. I feel that. You have that set, dude. Great minds. That's 3. We got to skip that one. That is 7. And that is going to be volume. All right. So far, we already have our list going. Forgive my nasty handwriting. So we've got our pitch, speed, texture, and volume. Now that we have those over here on our alphabetized list, you see that each one of those also has a corresponding letter over on the other side of the page. Well, we're actually going to be writing those terms over the top of the letter that it's corresponding with. So pitch gets A, speed gets B, texture is C, and volume is D. Cool. All right, so we've got those over on our variations, right? Now you see that there's a bunch of pluses and minuses over here. Now I'm doing this for both TikTok and YouTube, so forgive me for bouncing back and forth. If you see over here, there's a bunch of minuses and pluses, and you might be thinking, why? What's that for? In whatever way you feel comfortable, this character voice sheet is designed to help you decide how you want to go to either extreme for volume, well, really for my principles here, it's going to be pitch, speed, texture, and volume. Now, to continue the randomization, because I love playing this game, I actually have another dice set that was gifted to me at my very first live table session of D&D. And to this day, this is probably one of my favorite dice because I was able to use it the whole night, and it was so good. Yes, Click Clack Math Rocks is now what I become. Now, yes, Math Rocks. They are the best. This is my D2, and it is a Kraken dice set. So you see their little insignia here. This has a mostly transparent rosy resin, but it has white stones in there, and it kind of makes it look like either rose petals or, like, if you're a barbarian, it has the more like fleshy, gory feel. And I've used these on several occasions for both. So we're going to be using this to randomize the highs or the lows. So our 1s are going to function like our minus, the low end of our vocal tools. And our Kraken, the 2 on the D2, is going to function like the high end. So let's do this. We're going to randomize these 4 tools. So pitch, beginning with pitch. That is a 1. It's going to be a minus. Speed. That is also a 1. So we're going to be a little bit slower. Texture. That is a 2. We're going to be doing a lot of grit. Vocal fry is how I like to refer that to. And then lastly, we're going to be doing our volume, which is quiet. Excellent. Oh my gosh, this is going to be fun. Okay. So now that you're here, now that you're wondering, well, how do you use these tools? How do you know what to do? Some of these are kind of self-explanatory, and there's others that are, I'm glad that I didn't actually hit on some of these because they need a little bit more demonstration and practice for you to be able to utilize. But I do plan on giving you tutorials on how to use each and every one of these if you would like the clarification. So to that point, this is what I have so far. I'm trying to make sure that both of you can see it. Unfortunately, TikTok, you're going to have to deal with having this be backwards. I do apologize. If you want to see the regular version, make sure you hop over to the Red streaming app so you can see it forwards facing. I saw the random table didn't get how to execute it. Yeah, dude, totally. This table is designed to help you create character voices. And if you're stuck over here on ideas for what you want to do with your character voice, this chart over here will help you randomize and explore that same character voice. Okay, so this is how we're going to do that. Automatically, if I was to do speed, pitch, texture, and volume, you'll see that I have those minuses and pluses over on the side here, just as my notes. But I'm actually going to be doing, I'm actually going to be using those notes and writing them into my grid over here. So pitch, that is my first vocal tool. That means that over here on A, that's pitch, the plus that's next to a line is going to end up going across and encompassing both of these rows. So those are the most important parts for the plus. If you bring your pitch down, the minus here is going to incorporate and encompass the two rows here. All right. So for me, I'm going to be focusing on that lower column. So I'm going to, just for my visual, because I'm a visual guy, I am actually going to draw a line through there and kind of highlight. All right, one second. I will be right back. I have a baby crying. All right. So sorry about that, guys. But daddy duty will always come before anything else. All right. Thank you for posting that. Where is he posted his random voice table? It's on my Patreon. It is also available on my Ko-fi. So if you are interested in learning more, if you want to do, if you want to find 4 additional character voice sheets, not just for personal player or for exploration of a voice, but to remember your monster voices, to create NPC voices on the fly, to remember character voices from specific locations, I have all of those resources for you. So where we were talking about highlighting this bottom part of my pitch, okay? That's the tool that I've selected, so that's what we're going to be using. And the minus section that I wrote down here is these 2 rows, all right? Well, let's move on from there. How are we going to utilize this? So just a little bit of my notation. We're only going to be doing 1 character voice for this, so I'm okay scratching out areas I don't intend to use. So that's what I've done for the top 2 rows over here. Let's see. Now we have our speed. Speed is down. So that means we're only going to be focusing on the bottom 4 boxes here, because up here is these 2 columns. All right. So I'm going to highlight that box again, and I will X out the area that I don't intend on using. Now this is where things get a little tricksy, but if you follow me with this, it'll make complete sense. So texture. The C and D columns and rows are actually very interesting because I had to split them down the middle in order to make this work. So if you see a plus, it means that the two middle rows, essentially when you see any symbol on this chart, if it's next to a line on the grid, it means that it encompasses 2 rows or 2 columns if you're over here. If you see a symbol that's above only 1 row or next to only 1 row, it only works with that row, okay? So for texture, I'm going to be writing down plus texture. So that means that the only ones that we're really focusing on or would be focusing on are these 2 middle columns because texture is down here. So these 2 columns, because this is already scratched out, that means that these 2 are the ones we're focusing on, which means I get rid of those other 2, right? Now, if you don't want to keep etching out these things, that's okay. It's just how I utilize, because I'm a visual person, it's how I utilize my first draft of the voice, if you will. And then from there, for my reference, as I look at this even further, I see that I can do volume, which is supposed to be lower. Now, volume is over here, which means that if I want to bring my volume down, I need to focus on this box here, which means this one is X'd out, and this character is going to live visually down here. I can write in the character's name. I can write in the city in which this particular voice has the most prevalence. For those that pay attention to accents, for those that pay attention to speech and language generally when it comes to fiction or when it comes to the real world, you'll notice that a lot of people speak in the same dialect. So the same, like the way that they move their mouth to make consonants and vowels. But it shifts with every region that you go to. Like someone in Utah is not going to talk the same as someone in New York, right? That's a dialect. But you'll also notice